Good morning, everybody. We got Michael and Doug. That's great. Thanks for joining here with us this morning. My name is Sean Dunster. I'm the operations manager for Church Streaming and the web services division of Ministry Brands. So what we're going to be talking about here today is building a rotator, and more specifically, building maybe a little bit more of an effective rotator. What is available to you as options or features in there, and then also the video loop. And utilizing that. And joining me today is Cameron Kemp, who is one of the Church Streaming support reps, who works on the technical support end. So is on the receiving end of tickets that are submitted into the team. So you can see my screen here, you see my dashboard. So right now you can see that I already have a rotator up. Now this is just a very generic rotator that I've got going. And in a sense, rotator is just what it sounds like. It rotates a series of still images. Right now, I've got 4 images in there. Very nice, makes me feel like I want to be at the beach and hearing the waves crashing. But these are just a series of images that I've uploaded into my account. And then it just rotates through the 4 of them. And then once it's done with this last one, it goes back to the beginning. A little side note here, this is of Yellowstone. In Yellowstone, and I used to live in Bozeman, Montana, which is just north of Yellowstone. So I was down there frequently. Old stomping grounds for me. But so to build a rotator is pretty simple. But I want to go through the basics because I don't know if a lot of you have already built rotators, have played much with it. But I think it can be an effective tool because this is what on your channel, when your channel is not live. So right now my channel is showing offline here. And so when it is offline, this is what is playing out to your viewers on your embeds. This is what they're going to see is the rotator, if you've chosen that. And I'll get into that a little bit here. If I show settings, I can choose what it is going to be displayed in on my channel when my channel is not active. Right now, I've got a rotator and an offline loop video. Those are the 2 things. If you have them both selected, and one is my rotator, I just named it nature, and the other one is offline loop. If you have them both selected, it will always default to the rotator. So if you have them in here, it's not like you can pick one or the other. It's like if you have them both in here, it's going to go to the rotator first, and it'll play that one. And then the offline loop will be something that is there, but it can't play because the rotator is on there. So if I wanted to, say, not use the nature rotator, and I blank out that field, so there's nothing in there, and I hit save, just to give you a quick idea. So I save on that one. And then I go back to my dashboard. So now that's saved. Let me close this out. And I go back to my dashboard. Now you will see, as it goes back, the rotator goes away, and my offline video loop is now playing. So now here's an image playing. So this is also one when I'm going to show you kind of what you can do with the offline video loops, but this is just one example of it. So since I got rid of the rotator in there, the video loop will then play as my default. If I add the rotator back in, the rotator will play as the default. So that's the that's just kind of a quick tutorial on how that works. That said, you can set up though also what is going to be playing. I don't have an event scheduled right now. I don't have anything set up, but if I had an event scheduled, whatever is set up in my streaming event. So if I go to my streaming events and I look at something I had done, a test that I did last week, and I look at what was set up for content. Let's see here. Was it in my content? Yeah, it was live. And then I chose to I had offline loop and my rotator. It defaulted to the rotator again. You can choose in advance of an event what you want to have playing as your default. So just to give you an idea, that's what can be in there. So that's the only difference in between what I showed you before under the settings and then also in the individual event. And Cameron, again, if I'm kind of misstating some of this stuff, please check me on that. So here I'm going to go back into just setting up, getting a rotator established. So I'm going to go into media, because if you want to do anything with, you can do it a couple different ways, but if you wanted to set up a rotator, you can actually go to rotators here and do it this way, hit rotators, and you'll see that it'll go to a page that I've got test rotators already set up. Okay. So I want to add a new rotator. And so I go to add a new rotator on the right-hand side. I click that button, and I'm going to give it a title. And this is my let's call this church announcements. Now, what I think is important to know is that I think rotators are very, very effective to taking the place of where you normally have church announcements going on in a service. A lot of churches like to have, before the service starts, things up on the screen in the sanctuary where they'll have upcoming events or other things like that. This serves the same purpose. This can be your digital billboard that plays all the time on your channel to announce upcoming events. So that means that you need to keep it fresh. You need to change it up. So I'm going to add some things in here for my own church to give you an idea. So I've named it church announcements, and then I can give it, let's say, let's say June 1, 2021. That way it gives me an idea of where I did this from. Slide transition. It wants to know how many seconds in between the slides. How much time do you want to really give it in between each picture? So I want to give it 10 seconds. You can choose whatever you want to, but it is in seconds. So if I put 10, it'll be 10 seconds. Assign to pages. So what pages do I want it to be to? Well, I don't have necessarily pages on it. It's just going to be my main rotator. So I don't need to choose a page at this point. All right, so I'm going to hit save. There we go. Now it's going to take me to this page here where I need to add in the images. So I'm going to go here. And Katie, thanks for joining us. Hopefully, if I've covered anything, we are recording this. So if I've covered anything at the beginning of it, you can go back and look at that to see if there's anything that you might have missed on the setup. So I did some couple explainers at the top, but right now I'm getting into building a rotator. But then also you can use the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen. The Q&A button, you can ask questions, and Cameron can jump in there and answer your questions for you. So once I've named my rotator and then I hit save, it asks me to add my slides. Okay, so I'm going to add a new slide, and it's going to ask me where the video is. So or the images. So I don't have that. Actually, since I said that, that's a good point. You cannot add videos necessarily into Cameron. Incorrect. We have not changed that. You cannot add videos into a rotator slide.
Yeah, as far as I know, you're not able to do videos.
Right. You can only set a still image in there. I don't even believe you're able to add a GIF in there or anything with animation, but I'd have to check on that. I'm going to check on that to make sure, because I know we were making tweaks and changes to things. So I'm going to add a slide, and these are going to be my church announcements for, as I said, for like, the first week of June. So using my own church, I'm going to go into, I think it's important as your first slide, you should be looking at what would be considered like a welcome slide or something that identifies you. So I'm going to add a new slide. Is this wants to, it does not want to open. Okay, so see, these are the images that I have already uploaded in. I'm not sure why that is not.
So the areas below that, Sean, is actually where you'd add the slide. So you can go ahead and save that.
Well, let's see here. Yeah, but I thought I could upload a image right away by just clicking this one. But it doesn't look like it's going to let me to it. So the other then, yeah, I thought I could do that. This, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to go into media, and I'm going to have to upload the images that I want. So let me go into my images or my media real quick. I'm going to leave this right now. And I'll leave that where it is. I'm going to go to my media. and I'm going to add new media. Now, if I have several images that I want to upload, instead of going here and add the new media, I can do the bulk upload and I can add several images at one time. So I'm going to go to the bulk upload and I can drag and drop. So I'm going to choose several images that I have from my home church. And it's all going to be images that I'm going to think are going to be necessary for this particular 1st of June. So I'm going to grab these. Let's see here. I'm trying to look at where I have my other. There we go. Okay, perfect. So I've picked my images. Now they're up. Well, if I don't exist the same name. Okay, yes. Okay, great. Here we go. Upload now. Great. All these images just got uploaded. So they are now into my media section. So if I go back to my media here and I take a quick look, the images that I just uploaded are going to appear. So here they are right here in the order. Okay, great. So now what I can do is I can go into my Rotator. And in my Rotator itself that I created, it's still there, church announcements, June 1st, 2021. I have 0 slides. So I'm going to add a new slide. Okay, so we're going to go slides. So as I said, I'm looking for doing, really, I want to set the stage for my church. Okay, so that was 493. This one, oh no, wrong one. Sorry, I don't want that one. Sorry, I wanted the one right below it. This one. There we go. So I'm going to add that one in to this. All right, so that's my first slide. If I didn't do anything else for my Rotator, if I did nothing else, then this would be the only slide that shows up on the Rotator. It would stay as a static image the whole time. But I want to add more in there. So this is my first slide, and then I want to then add a new slide. And I'm going back through the process. Okay, then I'm let's go with yeah, Sunday service times. Yep. Okay. Let's see. Yep, that's what I want. Okay, and then I'm going to save that one. And then I'm going to go in here, add a new slide, another image. And then let's go with something I want to make sure that we have moments. Yeah, I'm going to use that one. This one, because I want to make sure I have a giving one in there as well. So for people who want to know how to give, and I can move these around. That is no problem. I'm going to add one more in here. Actually, I'm going to add 2 more in here because I want to show you something that's really important. Okay, and then one more image in here. We 3 kings. Okay, great. So I've got my images. So I built my Rotator, just a basic Rotator. That's what I've built with these 5 images. Okay, so they're in there. Great. So if I go back to my Rotators and I see the list of Rotators I've built, here's church announcements. I've got 5 slides. It shows me right there. So if I go back then into my streaming in my settings, and I want to look at what I have playing in here. Right now, I said I've got the offline loop playing on my dashboard, which is just a video playing because I have no Rotator selected. The Rotator is always the one that will trump anything else to play currently on a channel that is not live. So I've got no event scheduled. The video is playing there as is. So if I go in here to my streaming and I go to my settings, and I go in and I say, you know, I want a rotator to play in there instead. Okay, so if I go in here and I select, here's my church announcements, June 1st, 2021. That's the one I just created. I'm going to select that. I have to go down here and I hit save. After I've hit saved, and then I go back to my dashboard. Here we go. Now, instead of that video loop that was playing, you're going to see my rotator on here. There's my welcome slide. Name of the church. That's a great introduction. You should always have something that's very much identifiable. Remember when I set it up initially, I said I want 10 seconds in between each one. So here's my information on if you want to go in-person service. So it gives all the information here. Then here's a giving slide, and again, I can change the order of this. I can put this the very last one if I want. And then after giving, then I have this information about what you can do with used glasses. It's for the mission trip that they're going to go to Mexico. That's coming up in a long way away, but not that far. We're already almost to June. So that, and then the preschool. So this is basically a simple rotator. And as soon as this one's done, it's going to go back to the welcome slide again, just like this. But I have not taken full advantage the way I should have in building this rotator, because really all I'm doing is displaying something. I've not given anybody any reason to take action. I'm not giving them any opportunities to take action. So if I go back into my media and go to my rotators again, one of the things that you can look at when you're building this, so if I want to do this again, and I can edit this, and I said I can change, so I'm going to move this one down to the end. I really don't want the giving one all the way up there. So I'm going to put this down here. All right. So here's Epiphany, right? So here's my main slide there. And if I'm going to edit, I'm going to go down to the little edit icon. Right here, I can put a link in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter a URL, because I'm going to take advantage of this. If somebody's looking at my digital channel, and maybe they're not looking at it on my website, maybe they're looking at it on the Sermon Cloud page or something like that. But you want to have it available. You want to give as much call to action as you can. So what I want to do then is in my, let's see here. I want to put in here. Spell right. Sorry. Boy, my fingers are not. Okay. So I'm going to put that in there. Great. That's a link. And then I'm going to go to this one. And this is the per service times. I don't need to necessarily do this. But there was another slide. If I wanted to say, actually, I'm going to add a slide in here because I was just thinking about this. It's like, you know what? I want to add a new slide. Here is, because I wanted to really show you how I could do something here. Let me grab an image here. Let's see, which one was it? Actually, I don't think I added it in here, but I want to add it in here. Oh, well, I'll just leave it for now. Okay, so I'm going to go back here. Let me cancel that one. I'm going to go into here, this one. I'm going to edit this one, and I'm going to give this URL. Okay. I'm going to save that one. And then here's the text to give it. I'm going to do an edit on that one. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to give as much call to action as possible to people. So I go in here and I've got that. So I've got that saved. So now if I go back here into my dashboard, when I look at the rotator that I have created and is now playing on my channel, and again, the rotator plays when your channel's on here. Now you can see that this image is clickable. So if I click on this image, because I put that link in there, oh, I think I put the wrong URL in there. I was going off the top of my head. Yeah, let me go into the next image though to make sure. I put one right here, not for that one. I put it on this one. With Your King's Preschool. I click on that one. There you go. It takes me to the page for the preschool. And the preschool is it runs in conjunction with our church. So it gives you information for the parents, things like that. If I go back and I look at the image I had here in giving, and just information on text to give and to sign up. But if I click on that, it takes me then to the giving page for the church. And it shows you the different ways that you can give. So it took me directly to that page that I can, as somebody, if I want to give or I'm going to sign up for giving, I can do that. So I can do different actions within that. So that gives you ideas for how you can utilize a rotator in terms of creating something that can give people an action to take. But a lot of times what you want to do is on a rotator, you want to make sure you give the information absolutely about your service, where they can find you, but then also what's coming up, different things. As we talked about, here's something about a trip to Mexico, but you can put it in slides about a series that is going to be preached on. You can do things about your youth ministry. So I would change up your rotator often because it's your digital billboard. It's one that is available that people can look at anytime when your channel is offline. Now, that said, I will say, again, going back in here, that is my default because I've got, here we go. Let me just open this back up. So my settings, because I've got the offline loop and the church announcements chosen, the rotator will take the precedent and it will play. But if I did not have this selected, it would go back to the offline loop video. I would just blank out that field and hit save. And when I do that, and I come back in here to my dashboard then the offline video loop will play. And that is just basically giving an idea of when the services are. Okay, Sundays at 9 a.m. Wednesday. So if somebody looks at your channel, they could look at it that way and say, oh, that's when I can watch. Now, I think with your videos, same thing. Let's go into media. I'm going to add a different video in here because I do believe if you're going to add new media, and I like, again, using the bulk upload, I think you should use your video loop as a way to communicate different things with folks. So if I was doing one for church streaming, and let's see, here we go. I'm going to put this in here. I'm going to upload this video. There we go. So your status bar here is showing you your uploads. Okay. There we go. Video has been uploaded. So now I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to my settings. And if I go into where I've got the video, the offline video loop right here, offline media, I can now choose, I'm going to add a video in here. And I'm going to call it church streaming. Okay. Again, you have to be able to spell. Okay. Promo video. Okay. So I hit categories. I don't need a category. Choose the file. I've already I've already done that. So give me a second here, because that video should be in because it's part of my media. Yeah, right there. Okay, so there's my media. Oh, let me do this. Okay, so let's go back in here. Offline media, and my media should be saved in here. There we go. All right, there's the video that I just uploaded. Okay, so it's there. So I go into my settings again. And I go into my video loop. There we go. Now it's showing up. So now in my list, when I just clicked in the field, I can choose that video, because I can choose really any of the videos that are in there, that are in my media file that are videos. So I can go in there and I can choose this one. And then I hit save. And when you look at this then, so I'll go to my dashboard. There we go. I've used this opportunity to say something about church streaming. So this video loop that will start playing is basically a promo for who we are as church streaming. And I'm utilizing this platform for when somebody just logs into my website or goes onto the Sermon Cloud page, you're using it as an opportunity to give promotion to who you are, what you're about, what you do, and how people can contact you. So I would recommend that the offline video loop be used for that. This one is about, let's see, minute and a half long, which is perfect. But you can do something that's 2, 3, 4 minutes long. You can do all kind of creative things with videos and then upload it in here and play it on your channel when you don't have your channel online. That is a way that you can really utilize the video loop to illustrate something important, messaging that you want to get out. And again, just like the rotators, I would change this often. I would not use the same one over and over again unless you feel like, it's really important to give somebody an idea of who you are. If somebody is looking for a church and they want to kind of get an idea of what you're about, they can look at past services, yes, but you can also put together something that's more of a quick promo that speaks to your heart. So I would recommend looking at creating something like that, because I think that would be worthwhile. But then also you can say take a snippet from a previous service. Say you had a previous service that that was really good, and you want to play that in your offline video loop. You can do that as well. Yes, it would be in your archives, but at the same time, you could put it and highlight to play on your channel all the time until an event came up. So those are different ways that you can utilize these channels, either through a video that's playing all the time on your channel. That doesn't count against the times of your streaming, because this just plays out of the server. So you can have something playing all the time that really speaks to who you are, or you can go in and you can create by going into your appearances and your settings. You can go in here, and as I said, if you choose a rotator, the rotator is what we'll take as a default over top of this. So I'll go to my church announcements, and I'm going to select that, and I'm going to save it. Once I do that, and I go back to my dashboard, then the rotator is what's going to be here first. So I'll go back to my dashboard, and now you will see the rotator slides come back up. And as I did before, because I made these rotators all about something that is more relevant and time sensitive, I can choose to change these out every single week. So right here is the name. Then here's how the different services, if you're going to be in person, but then also online. If I look down again, here is a way that you can, something that's going on within the church that you can be part of. And in here is about the preschool that the church operates. But in here and in other slides, I put embed links. So I put links that connect to the actual sites that people can take action and learn more about. So those are the things I'd say are really critical, is as you look at how not only the stream that you do for your streaming event, but when your channel is not active with a live event stream, what are you doing to utilize this space? Because it's always available to you, it's always there, and people could go on and they can see this channel with these different announcements. And so I would say, I highly recommend you take advantage of that. So Cameron, I don't know if there's any questions that came up from folks during this. I know a couple people joined us a little bit late, so I appreciate you being here. And we did record this. Cameron, thank you for reminding me. We did record this, so if you want to look at it later, I will send out a link, to this recording so that you can look at whatever you may have missed. But Cameron, were there any questions that of something I didn't cover or something I may have missed that you noticed?
No questions. Just another kind of big thing, just to make sure that everybody knows, is that on the streaming and settings page that we've gone over, again, this is just going to be the default information. If you have an event scheduled already, then any changes on this page isn't going to affect what your offline media is,
Right.
because it's taking that information from the event, and this is also the default settings. There is also what's going to be default for any new events that you create in the future. So
Right.
if you already have events scheduled, maybe you're doing recurring events, you want to change your rotator or change your video loop, we recommend just deleting that event and recreating it instead of going in and editing that information right now. So just want to make sure that you do that. So
yeah. So here, get what Cameron's talking about is, so I'm going to create an event here real quick. This is a rotator test. So say, and to Cameron's point, and I'm just going to do this real quick just to give you an idea what it would be like. I'm just going to hit save and next, and get in here. There we go. Content live. Right here is where I'm going to choose. So see how it defaulted right away to what I have in my settings, what I put in the church streaming promo video, and then it put in the church announcements, June 1st, 2021. Well, say I didn't want that. Say I wanted something else to be in my rotator. And again, if you have a rotator in here, the rotator is going to take precedent over a video loop. So if right now, as you saw on my dashboard, I had the rotator going. Remember, I had the still images, but say I don't want a rotator. So in leading up to this event, I want the video playing. So I'm going to save this, and I'm going to make sure that I've got it set for publish. I don't need to go to Facebook or YouTube. And I don't need to go to Sermon Archives right now because I'm just saying this, but I'm going to set it to publish. So I make sure my publish status is that to publish, and then I'm going to save and done. So when I do that, as I said, there we go, it's saved. If I go back to my dashboard, now it was the rotator with a series of images. It's going to take a second before the event triggers here. So right now I still got the rotator, as you can see here, and the event is not showing up here on the left-hand side. It's not displaying. So the rotator's still there, but if I refresh my page, because it takes just a minute for that service to populate in, you'll see, nope, it's still the rotator right now. It will switch over here, and you'll see a countdown come up, and you'll see that my event will come up here. I'm just going to give it a second. There we go. This is a rotator test. So now it's there. There's my countdown, and you see the video now is playing in here, because this is my next scheduled event. And in the events, even though under media, or I'm sorry, under streaming and settings, even under the streaming settings right here, where I have set up, and if you look at this, you see that I had a rotator church announcements set up as my default. In my event that I just set up, this is my rotator test. In this one, I chose to have the video play in my content. So if I go to my content and show there, I chose to have the video play leading up to this event. So that's why on the dashboard, that's what you're seeing instead of the rotator, is because it will default to what is you've selected leading up to your next event. So this is my next event, starts in 1 hour, 20 minutes, and it's going to keep playing this video that whole time until the event starts instead of the rotator. Does that make sense? Hopefully. Cameron, yeah, that was a great point, and I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that's a great distinction to show folks. So, if there are no questions, that you've put in the Q&A for Cameron, I appreciate you being here, appreciate the time. And as I said, we recorded this, so I will send out a link that you can watch this again, but hopefully this was helpful in understanding how to build a rotator, how to put in the video loop, but then also how to build a rotator that you can have people take action with by putting links within those images so that they can click on them and they can get to a page that you're talking about. So whether it's your church, whether it's how to give, whether it's going to a social media page outside of that, you can do that through those images, just providing the URLs to those different pages. So take advantage of that. Play with this a little bit more. See how you can use it to really enhance and promote your church and who you are and what your ministry is. And then see how more effective it can be to getting your message out.